Yes, guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the live stream today, reacting to Chelsea 1, Brighton 1. I'm still fuming. I had to remind myself this morning that we didn't actually lose that game. It felt like a defeat, a last-minute Danny Welbeck goal, cancelling out Lukaku's first half header, and a fourth draw in our last 5 Premier League games, and another poor performance at home. Look, injuries, fatigue, COVID, they're all part of the reasons why, our form has dipped a lot recently. But the fact that we're making individual mistakes, poor finishing, it's just not, those just aren't excuses anymore. When we're challenging for a Premier League title, we cannot have finishing like we've got. And we've seen it on a consistent basis. I think we've thrown away this season 11 points from winning positions already. We only gave away 10 points in the entirety of last season from winning positions. So it's really poor. I'm not happy about this one last night. But the worst thing is it wasn't really entirely unexpected. As I said, we struggled against a shit Everton team. We struggled against Leeds. We just got through. We struggled against a poor United side and a poor Burnley side. So, yeah, it's not good. I mean, bro, what are your thoughts on last night? Another 2 injuries to add to the list. Reece James looks like he's going to be out long term, left the ground on crutches. Initial prognosis is a completely torn hamstring, which we could be looking at 3 to 4 months. Obviously, we've not seen the official results come back from the scans, etc. Christensen re-aggravating a back injury off at half time. The side is running on fumes, but I mean, what did you make of last night?
Pretty tough watching, mate, wasn't it? If I'm honest, I felt as though despite a lot of the intense pressure that we were under from Brighton, I felt in control. Although a lot of the defence was last ditch, I felt it was very much our game to lose and to be in control of. And of course, we didn't lose it. It was a draw, but it feels like a draw because it feels like a loss because, in terms of our title challenge, it ostensibly is. Anything apart from a win now is just not okay for us. I feel still, despite the fact that the side is running on fumes, as you say, and despite the fact that we've had all these COVID cases and all these injuries, it still comes down to individual mistakes, and it still comes down to lack of quality in the final third. Like, we can win these games. We have a deep squad. We have the most or equal most quality out of any Premier League side. And although we don't have access to all of it right now, we've still got what we need to win these games. And we're not doing it because we cannot see things through in the final third. There'll be a bad touch, a bad pass, a weak finish, an indecision, a wrong decision, all taking place in the final third, or when we've got really good options at goal. Callum Hudson-Odoi, why can you not finish?
It's not just him. And we saw an instance in the first half. Mason Mount had a great opportunity to play a ball across the goal, and he fucked it. Like, he just couldn't pick the pass out. Callum was poor last night, 100%. But if you actually, there's a clip on social media doing the rounds. If you actually watch it back, he should have gone for the shot, yes. But the main point is that pass, the only reason it doesn't get to Mount is because Veltman handballs it. But obviously that wasn't even referred to the VAR, wasn't even picked up. But Mount did appeal for it afterwards. And the fact it wasn't even referred is shocking. But if you watch it back, it's a clear handball. That's why the ball doesn't get there. But yes, Hudson-Odoi was poor last night, but in his defence, that was the case. It was a handball for the pass. But the more worrying thing is that he didn't have the confidence to take that shot on. And it's not just him. If that was Mount, Havertz, Werner, Ziyech, Polisik, exactly the same. I wouldn't feel confident of a single one of them putting a ball in the net. If it was Lukaku, I'd feel a lot more confident. But the fact is, no quality in the final third whatsoever. And yes, have we got good footballers in that final third? Yes, but too many of them are not the finished article. And we need a balance between finished article and kind of talent coming through. Hudson-Odoi is still a rough diamond. He's 21. Look at the likes of Salah, Sterling, Vinicius Jr. at Real Madrid. These guys didn't have it all at a young age. They're only starting to blossom now. It took Sterling, 2 or 3 seasons under Pep to actually turn into a bit of a goal scorer. The same with Salah at Liverpool. I mean, how terrible was Salah at Chelsea? God awful. Yeah. And it took him a few seasons abroad and then to come to Liverpool and really push on. So to expect, look, your likes of your Haalands, your Mbappes, you're going to get exceptions to the rule that are finished article or unbelievable at a young age. But it's a lot to expect of a football player to be the real deal at 21. But having said that, yes, he was poor last night, but he wasn't the only one.
No, I completely agree. And it's wrong for me to single out. It was just frustrating because it seemed like it's one of those chances that you look at and he's got it in him and he's got the ability. It's just indecision, and it typifies where we're at. It typifies our issue. We could talk for however long about COVID and injuries and schedules and, too late.
5 subs,
and all that, talk forever. But there's no point, because the fact of the matter is that we've been in positions to win these games and we have the quality on the pitch to win these games, but we haven't, because there has been indecision, wrong decision making, tentativeness, lack of quality execution in the final third. Although a lot of our defence was last ditch and a lot of it's been scrappy, it's been quality. And although we've let in, considering more goals than we used to, and we've mounted a lot of our, basically our Champions League victory and, success under Tuchel has been based on clean sheets, and those haven't been there. We've still been in position to win these games, and I'm not fretting about the defence despite the immense injuries. What worries me is our lack of ability to convert.
But full well that Hudson-Odoi chance, that 2-on-1 last night, City and Liverpool, that's a goal every time, and that's the big difference.
Mate, you get killers up front, and we're a different side.
They're going to battle with machine guns, and we've got water pistols.
Exactly. We're turning up to and taking knives to a gunfight. You're exactly right. It's not. We cannot win the league if we consistently squander strong periods of pressure and do not capitalise on chances which, at the top level, need to be put away. You watch a Chelsea fan, you watch a game, and we come out the blocks and bang, we're firing and we get big chances early on, and they don't get put away, and you're like, here we go again.
Mate, I was watching that game, and full well, and even a few months ago, 1-0 up in the game, that we're going to see that out and we're going to win. Now, watching Chelsea the last few weeks and all this month, 1 goal going into the final 15, 20 minutes, it's not enough. And that Brighton goal was coming. And to be honest, mate, they probably deserved to win last night. They had us on the ropes, we were just taking...
they played well, and credit to them.
We had wave after wave of attack just coming at us the whole time. And look, we should have been clinical. And it's the most frustrating thing is it's boring saying it. It's the same problem over and over again. We have got no quality, real quality in the final third. Yes, talented football players, but talent alone is not going to win us this league. We need ruthlessness, and we just don't have it. It wasn't just the front. It wasn't just the forward players last night. I mean, I thought Lukaku was excellent last night, but the midfield. I don't want to criticise Jorginho, but he was really poor last night. I thought Kovacic was a bit off it as well. The midfield they were just getting through it so easily. Basuma was unreal in that midfield for Brighton last night. Tarek Lamptey up against Marcus Alonso was a joke. He was just getting in behind every single time. And obviously for the last minute equaliser, Chalobah loses his man. Should that be happening? Absolutely not. And those are the fine margins at the top level. Look, we're all excited that, Leicester did us a favour and beat Liverpool the night before. But the reality of the situation is that's only helpful if we can cash in. And once again, it's another missed opportunity. But I mean, how concerned are you about the home form as well? Because I mean, as I said, I'll quickly just bring it up on the screen. I mean, we don't really want to see it, but just for the benefit of people watching, this home form is really concerning. I mean, look at that. Last 5 home games. And it would have been 5 draws were it not for a stoppage time penalty against Leeds. So, from the last 5 home games, we've dropped what? 2, 4, we dropped 8 points out of 12 from 12 at home. No, 8 points from 15 have been dropped.
It's worrying that Chelsea, with the squad that we have, injuries, COVID, yeah, got it. There's got to be fear factor. You've got to be coming to Stamford Bridge knowing that the likelihood is that you're going to get, first of all, a seriously tough game, and second of all, likely there's a chance you're going to get drilled. There's a chance that you're going to get dominated. There's a chance that you're going to get embarrassed. And
mate, we went under Jose. We've got the record: 85 games unbeaten in the league at home. Now, I mean, I know we've not lost these games, but we should never. We're Chelsea. I know, look, COVID, injuries, etc. In all of those games there that we've dropped points at home, we've done enough to win every single one of them. It's not like we haven't been outplayed in a single one of them. All right, Brighton last night, you could say we're probably outplayed, but if we're clinical, that's 2-0 with the 2-on-1, and that's game put to bed. But yeah, the frustrating thing is we've done enough to win all those games, and we haven't done it. And it's been the same conversation every week, season on season, is that we do not take our chances. And until we get someone who is clinical in those wide areas, this problem is not going to rectify itself.
I just don't know. How do we have the luxury to wait for Hudson-Odoi to reach the level that he's likely to reach?
No, but that's what I'm on about balance. Have Hudson-Odoi as an option. Is he going to be a top football player? Absolutely, I believe so. But right now, when you're going for a title, you need finished product along with some young, exciting options. Look at Manchester City's options: Sterling, Grealish, Foden, Mahrez. It's an absolute joke.
I know. I know.
And you look at the quality there. Bernardo Silva as well. It's embarrassing. When we need to and then we need more quality. Is Polisik a good footballer? Yes. Is he consistent? No. Has he lived up to his price tag? Absolutely not. We got players like Polisik who are talented, don't show it enough. Ziyech doesn't show it. Havertz doesn't show it. Werner doesn't show it. These guys have it in glimpses. 1 in 5 games they might turn up. That's not good enough when you're going for the big prizes. Not good enough.
Well, the difference is between top level and talented players is the ability that you have to consistently display your talents and to consistently perform at a top level.
Yeah,
that's what sets apart a guy like De Bruyne and someone like Foden or a Trent. There was a conversation about Reece James. Obviously, it's a nightmare for us that he's injured because he's a massive asset. But there was a conversation a month ago. I was at the Juventus game a month ago about Reece James versus Trent, and you didn't really know because Reece James was just top level. Every decision was the right one. Confident touch every single time. Yeah,
he's dipped a bit as well.
And he's dipped.
Yeah, but of course he's going to dip though. We seem to forget that the guy's 21, or he might just be 22. This is a young football player. He hasn't played a lot of senior football. This is his second or perhaps third season actually in the first team. We're expecting a lot of these guys, and we expect a lot because they've delivered. But the fact of the matter is, this Reece James injury was just waiting to happen. The guy has been played too much because we had no options with injuries, and then without the 5 subs. We can't take him off and rest him where we need to. We switch him to left wing back last night to rest Alonso, who's our only choice at left wing back. And then we pick up a muscular injury. I mean, are we really surprised?
It's driving me nuts, this whole situation, mate.
No, we're just dropping. We're dropping like flies. We're just injury FC, and it's no surprise. I mean, I don't know who to be annoyed at: the players, the Premier League. How can every league in Europe have 5 substitutions specifically bought in for COVID? We did have it. And now it's gone. And why are we not having 5 substitutions? It's not about how can we not get a 14 club majority vote on 5 subs? It's honestly, I don't get it at all because we're getting players that we need to sub off and we can't because we've picked up injuries. So we have to use those subs for that instead. I just don't get it.
Not everyone's got the same schedule that we do. Not everyone has the same strength in depth as we do. They feel
but it's not about strength in depth. I'm not saying about bringing on quality. It's about giving these players a rest and just bringing some fresh legs on. 5 subs is going to benefit everyone. Who wouldn't want an extra 2 changes?
Well, I don't know. They might, clubs low down the table might consider it an unfair advantage.
Yeah, but it's an unfair advantage to postpone certain games and make other teams carry on. Like we're playing a full schedule this Christmas, and other teams are having basically a winter break. Like the integrity of the competition is kind of fast disappearing because it's not a level playing field, you know. And when they start putting, you know, fixtures postponed and they use injuries in there as well, the Premier League's just losing so much credibility. But that's obviously a separate conversation. But yeah, really, really disappointing last night. And you can't say, you know, it wasn't coming because it was. I mean, I was really worried. We were just hanging on for dear life in that second half. But I mean, I don't know about you, mate, but we look so... that's one of the most leggy and tired I've seen a Chelsea side. We just look knackered and just run into the ground.
Yeah, but what can you say about that? Like, is that surprising?
No, it's not surprising because we've had to rush players back. We've had to play players more minutes than they should be getting. We're rushing players back who've just had COVID. One or two training sessions, got to play a full 90 minutes. Players that have been out for 6 to 8 weeks. It's going to happen. Of course, it's going to happen. We shouldn't be surprised, but it doesn't make it right.
Mate, we're getting done dirty.
We are getting done dirty. Mourinho said it years ago. There is an agenda against the football club. How can we put requests in to get games postponed, rejected, and yet other teams put in requests for far less, and it gets accepted?
Well, dude, look, you know, it comes with the territory of being a top club. It comes with the territory of being a very wealthy club. It comes with the territory of being hyper successful. We're not going to have leniency. I kind of get that, but we're getting done dirty by COVID. We're getting done dirty by injuries. You know, the fact that we're still level with Liverpool. I think got a game in hand. Yeah,
we're a point ahead, but they've got a game in hand. So we really...
The fact that we're in the position that we are in relation to Liverpool, who have not had the equivalent situation, we're going to get pumped by AFCON and, are looking at a difficult January and difficult February. You know, and we've done well to be where we are, and I'm happy that we are where we are. But the frustration is that we've dropped so many points and that we're not level or ahead of City.
Because we're 6 points off. I think, it could be 8 points now if we dropped a couple. But even just like those draws at home, even if we turned a couple of those into wins, you know, with 3 or 4 points off the top, and it's game on. It's so frustrating. But I mean, you can even look at last night. Yes, poor decision making, poor refereeing. The handball that I referenced with the 2-on-1 there, we didn't see it at the time, but if you watch it back, it is clear. And I don't understand why it wasn't referred. The whole point of VAR is that errors missed by the human eye are referred. And for why that wasn't referred, I don't know. Why Mike Dean is blowing his whistle before the ball's even hit the back of the net with that Mason Mount one. If it's a foul, fine, but just let the ball go in the net and then look back at it. How can you be so...
Was that a foul?
Well, I mean, to be honest, mate, I haven't seen it back because I was fuming, so I just switched the game off as soon as it was full time. But
yeah, same.
But I mean, people that are at the ground said it was a foul, but it's more the fact that, you know, let the ball hit the back of the net. How can you be so sure without even seeing it back? We've got the luxury of seeing these things back now. Just take a look at it, and if it's a foul, fine, but don't blow the whistle when the ball's on its way into the net. And
also there's 4 added minutes. There is a goal scored within.
There was no extra. There's a lot of poor refereeing decisions. I thought we had a nail. Tuchel was fuming after the game. I don't think I've ever seen him so angry after a match.
Have you seen his interview? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, mate, his interview. I mean, I'll read out something he was saying. You know, he's called VAR a joke, stupid to think that we're still in a title race with the situation that we have. It was a stonewall penalty with Polisik, for sure. I don't know if you've seen it back, but he's 100% fouled in the box. We don't get it. You know, I don't get it. I just really don't get it. The penalty's a joke, honestly a joke, not to interfere from VAR. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to step in with these things, what's the point in having it? And then obviously he was asked about the integrity of the title race, as I referenced, and he said, this is the reality, this is where we are, and we have to adapt to the demands of the situation which you are in. This is what I'm saying. I competed very hard for the win at Brighton. I don't know what I can expect from my players in terms of physicality, intensity, or minutes. Nobody knows anymore because we have never done something like this. We play trial and error and see what I can do. I will protect my team. We can play better, but we need the full squad over weeks and weeks. If you see the impact from Kante that he only plays 30 minutes. One single player, if you add the minutes that he is missing over a season, if you add the minutes over Mateo Kovacic, it is too much. And then obviously Timo Werner is still got COVID, still not in training. He just wasn't happy. I mean, and he, going on to say that how can we be in a title race with a situation that we're in? And I totally get it, but we had opportunities to win last night. A combination poor finishing, combination of some bad refereeing decisions, but ultimately, we couldn't do it when it mattered, and it was really, really frustrating. And to pile up, another 2 injuries, Christensen with his back. I don't know how serious that is. And you're looking at it, and we're going to be going into Liverpool with Marcus Alonso as the only fit wing back, and it's just. I know. I mean, I do worry for Sunday. That obviously we'll get to that in the coming days. But the January window, having now looked at potentially not needing to do any business, is now a really big window. We need a left wing back. If Reece James's prognosis is as bad as first thought, we're going to need someone to play at right wing back. And I honestly think we need a midfield player as well. And this is the time now for the board to step up and back the manager. In the summer, Tuchel wanted a midfield player. He wanted Hakimi. He wanted Adama Traore. Just trust him. Give him what he wants. I'm pissed that we didn't get Hakimi still. You need competition for places in a squad. Hakimi and Reece James. City have got, I know Cancelo plays left back a lot, but they've got Kyle Walker and João Cancelo as fullback, as right back options. Those 2 guys would walk into virtually every team in the league at right back. You need competition for places. It pushes these players on. I wish we'd got Hakimi. We should have just done it. Reece James and Hakimi as right back options. We've got Chile at left back. And I'm seeing people say, don't go and sign like a Teo Hernandez, because what happens when Chilwell comes back? We're not a charity football club. Someone's injured. Chile's not going to be back to playing its best until 2023. We need to go and get a first choice left wing back. Come on. Yeah. Let's be ruthless. Let's act on these things. It's just, we have to back Tuchel in this January window, or we can forget it. I think we can forget the league now, and we just need to focus on the Champions League and the cup competitions, because we do have an opportunity to become world champions this season, win the League Cup, potentially win the FA Cup as well. So there's still a lot to play for, but we're threadbare at the moment. And last night was just another example of, everything conspiring against us. And the worst thing is only ourselves to blame. But I mean, let's get into the player ratings then. I mean, on the lineup itself, I mean, I think that's really, I don't know what you thought, mate, but I mean, we needed to give Alonso a rest, whatever people think of him. He can't play every single game, so we did need to rest him. Obviously, Liverpool more important on Sunday, so I think the fact that Reece James would be more trusted at left wing back than, say, Aspaliquetta or Saul. Polisik right wing back kind of makes sense. I mean, given the options we had, mate, that was pretty much the best team we could field. I would say. I mean, do you have any qualms about the lineup?
No. And we also we'll get to it, but we haven't spoken about Lukaku, who was a positive.
Yeah, he was a positive. Yeah, that's certainly true. Let's kick things off. Edouard Mendy in goal. He made some good saves last night. I thought he was decent again. He's got one more game left before he goes off to the African Nations in January. He's got Liverpool left on Sunday. I thought he had a good game last night. Some good saves to keep us in the game. Again, I thought his distribution at times was quite poor, and that's something he does need to work on. I mean, I'd probably give him a 6.5. How did you see his performance?
Yeah, I'd probably say 6.5 as well. There were a couple of dodgy moments, and there was a conversation amongst the pundits about, his a little bit of indecision, a little bit of sort of where he's at the moment, the standard he set at the beginning of the season, at the end of last season, etc. So, yeah, I think 6.5 is accurate.
Moving on to Aspaliquetta, making his 450th appearance for the club last night and his 180th as skipper. No doubt in what a top player he's been for the club over the years. Several reports indicating that he could well be on his way to Barcelona on a free transfer at the end of the summer. I think he'd go with the well wishes of every Chelsea fan, as much as we want to keep him around the place. I thought he was okay last night.
He was all right. I thought he was all right.
He was all right. He was obviously having to give Polisik a lot of instructions in that kind of opening 20 minutes. He was constantly talking to him. I thought Aspaliquetta was okay last night. I mean, nothing special. I mean, I'd probably give him a 5.5, possibly a 6. What did you think of his performance?
I think we've got to say 6, and because that's because his performance isn't just on the ball. And there's a huge amount of organisational work he does off the ball. He's a leader at the back, and I think he did well yesterday. I think he did really well. Although positionally he was good as well. I didn't think he was caught out on too many occasions, and I think he did well.
Christensen obviously only played a half. His back injury flaring up again. Obviously, he still hasn't signed his contract. He's switched his representatives. Obviously, sacked his dad. And
what do you know? What went down there? What was that?
No, well, mate, his dad used to represent him, and then he's changed his representatives. I mean, several reports.
You know
why? Probably not. No, but maybe to try and get him a better contract or a better deal at another club. Several reports saying that he's holding out for Barcelona. He wants to join Barcelona. I don't know how true they are, but the fact he's not signed the contract and it's January, in 2 days, it doesn't bode well, and he can sign a pre-contract agreement. So, I mean, ultimately, I'm at a situation where I don't care how good you are. If you don't want to be at the football club, you can leave. And if he wants to leave, then so be it. We don't want players there that don't want to be there. But having said that,
I don't want a situation. I completely agree, Siva. I do not want a situation where, like, sort of Kane at Tottenham, where No.
I don't think the board operate like that. We're not going to keep someone for the sake of keeping someone. If they want to go, they want to go. But we cannot be in a situation where we're going to lose Rudiger, Christensen, and Aspie all on frees at the end of the season, which is looking like it's more and more likely to happen. But anyway, back to Christensen. I thought it was really good last night. Marshalled the back line really well. I thought he made some good tackles, some good defensive decisions, etc. I thought he played really well, mate. I'll give him probably a 7 or a 7.5 for his performance.
Yeah. Do you know anything? What's the update on his injury?
His back again. So the same thing as before. He had a back in. It's just kind of flaring up. I mean, we're just having to play players that aren't 100% fit. But yeah, I thought he was good last night. I'd probably give him a 7 or a 7.5. What did you make of him?
Yeah, I'd probably say 7.
Yeah,
I think he played really well. It's obviously unfortunate about the injury, and when it came in, he obviously stayed on, but it was clear that he wasn't able to move freely, and it's just a nightmare to see that. In and around the same time as Reece James went out, and you're just like, oh, fucking hell! Like, how are we going to handle this? So difficult to watch that, but as you say, positionally great, and marshalled the defense really well. I'm a Christensen fan as well.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him as well, and he has played really well under Tuchel. Yes, his form has dipped a little bit recently, but he was really good last night, and it would be a real shame if we lost him because he's a quality player at a great age as well. But ultimately, as I said, if we don't want to keep players that don't want to be at the football club at the end of the day. Moving on to Rudiger, another one that is probably in the coming days he's going to announce that he's joining Real Madrid. And I thought he was good last night. Makes good defensive decisions. He's good passing forwards, making those runs into the final third like he always does. Some sort of mad tackle 2-footed off the floor. You get booked for that. I mean, if he got that millisecond wrong, he would have been off. But it's sort of the Rudiger we see. He's just all action, mad guy. But he always puts the shift for the team. And I thought he played well last night. I mean, I'd probably give him a 7 as well.
It just blows me away that we haven't secured a deal with Rudiger.
Why? How can the board be sitting there watching Rudiger and how well he performs every week and not offer him an extra 20, 30 grand a week? There simply must be more to it.
What's happened? Why is Rudiger going?
There must be more to it. I cannot fathom that they'd be sitting there thinking,
he's not worth the money that
we can't offer this guy another 20, 30 grand a week. I don't know if Rudiger's just said, look, I actually don't want to stay anymore. He could have, maybe he has said that.
Man, he loves it. I mean,
he loves it. He's an integral part of this 3-man defence under Thomas Tuchel. Ultimately, he may well have said that, do you know what, I don't fancy it anymore. I want another challenge. I want to go and play for Real Madrid. The prestige of playing for Real Madrid. Everyone wants to play for Real Madrid. But
what? The toughest challenge you could possibly have is to play for Chelsea right now.
But, Real Madrid, Mbappe next summer, potentially Haaland as well. It's a fantastic opportunity to go and play in another country, one of the most prestigious clubs in world football. But, I can't fathom what the issue is here. It surely cannot just be money. Maybe it's length of contract as well. I'm not sure. But, yeah, it'll be a real farce if we just let him go on a free and we can't sort something out. But yeah, I thought last night good. 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, me too. And like the tackle, I'm pretty sure Rudiger's the kind of guy who's like, I'm gonna slide this. He's about 2 meters away. Fuck it. I'm gonna do like a jumping 2-foot challenge just because he's feeling so insane at that point. And it's a miracle to me that he doesn't get sent off.
Yeah, he doesn't pick up many red cards.
I know, and that he doesn't get suspensions. Like the way that he plays is mental. And he's a defender. I just don't understand how he's able to package this intense psyche that he's got and channel it and do what he does on the pitch again. It's amazing. He's such an asset. And
but he was good. He was good last night. Moving to right wing back, Christian Polisik, again playing out of position. I tell you what, though, he's far more effective at wing back than he is at false nine. That's for sure. I definitely don't want to see him in that false nine position again. I thought he did okay last night. Going forward, he wasn't bad. I think defensively, he did struggle a little bit. Aspaliquetta, as I said, having to give him a lot of instructions in that opening kind of 15, 20 minutes particularly. But for someone that doesn't lay the position and is filling in a needs-must situation, I didn't think he was that bad, really.
No,
I don't think we could have expected a lot more from him. I mean, obviously, a Stonewall penalty for a foul on him that we didn't get. I don't think VAR even looked at it. Which is a worry, or they did look at it, and the standard of officiating so poor in this country that they didn't think it was a foul. But yeah, I thought Polisik did okay. And we shouldn't really have been expecting too much from him there. I'd probably give him a 5. I thought he wasn't amazing. Just above average for me, probably a 5.5/6.
I'd like to give him 6. He's a skillful player, and he's got quality. You see him carrying the ball forward. His close control is fantastic, and I just don't feel he's able to bring it together on any kind of consistent basis. I don't know.
This is the problem. You know, obviously we haven't seen him get a consistent run in his favoured position, but he's just not consistent, and that's the problem. You know, he's another one of those players that has like a worldy game, like 1 in 3, 1 in 4 games. It's not good enough when we're going for the big prizes.
Yeah, I know. The base standard needs to be higher.
But playing out of position last night, I actually thought he did an okay job. You know, I don't think we could expect much more from him.
Yeah, and of course, there's the point, like, you know, players who lack consistency. He's not played consistently. He's not.
He's not. This is it.
Someone provide consistency.
I mean, I think there's a decision to be made in the summer on him. For sure. If we can get, I mean, he's be one that if he doesn't sort of put his finger out like a number of players, I think he could be one that we look to move on in the summer for sure. But yeah, all things considered, I thought he did okay last night. Reece James, to be fair, I don't know if I want to give him a rating, to be honest. He hardly played. He played about 25, 30 minutes. I don't think he was that great in the left wing back slot, but I'm not going to give him a rating just based on the fact that for me, he didn't play long enough. But it seems now that we're going to need to bring in another right wing back option because the prognosis doesn't look good, as I've said. Another long-term injury. Both our fullbacks looking like they're out medium to long term, which is really bad.
Can we do a quick injury run through? Reece James.
Yeah.
Medium to long term.
Chilwell, long term.
Majorly long term.
And then we've got the likes of, at the moment, you know, Werner's still out with COVID. Loftus-Cheek, COVID/injury. Christensen's injured. I don't know who else. Kante's is hit and miss. Yeah. Look, we've got a lot of injuries and COVID issues for sure, but you know, we've got more than enough to get the job done on the pitch, and we just don't. I mean, Marcus Alonso, I thought he was poor yesterday. I'm sorry, I didn't think he was that good.
I don't rate him. I don't like playing.
Tariq Lamptey was getting in behind him so often, like every single time. Alonso giving the ball away cheaply a couple of times as well. He offers a little bit going forward, but not much. I mean, I thought
Alonso's done, bro.
He was poor yesterday. Mate, I think I'd give him a 3 out of 10.
Alonso came into the club, provided quality, excitement, had a dip, had a renaissance, and now that's over and it's done.
Yeah, he was poor last night, 3 out of 10. I mean, moving on to the midfield now, Jorginho, who's been outstanding for us for a long period of time. He's been playing through the pain barrier, playing a lot more minutes and games than he perhaps should have been playing due to the situation. he had a stinker yesterday. He was awful. The ball was just getting through the midfield so easily, particularly in that first half. We were getting overrun by the likes of Yves Bissouma for Brighton. And yeah, Jorginho was just really poor yesterday. I don't think he was worse than Alonso, but he wasn't any better. So I'd probably have to give him a 3. But yeah, a really, really poor night at the office for Jorginho.
If George isn't able to play the game the way he wants to, if the game isn't, if we're not playing through him, if he isn't marshalling, and if we're being overrun by sides, Jorginho can suddenly look seriously frail. Especially he's playing with pain. Is it his hip?
Hip/back, I think.
Yeah, whatever. So there's an issue, and he's not physical. He's incredibly small, and he's slim, and he's not strong on the ball. We all know what he's good at. It's just it can all of a sudden look. He can look fragile. He can look frail out there, and it's problematic. We saw that last night.
Yeah, he was poor last night, but for the workload he's put in this season so far and how well he's played, he's going to have a poor game every so often, and this was a poor game from him. Moving on to Kovacic, obviously had to play a full 90 minutes. Probably was one of the players that ideally would have subbed, but having to make 2 subs through injury, it wasn't going to happen. I thought he was okay, better than Jorginho, not a lot better. There was one instance in the first half where he gave it away and they were almost through on goal, but I think it was McAllister who picked the wrong pass option and we got away with that one. But I thought Kovacic was all right, but again, nowhere near his best, still coming back from long-term injury and obviously COVID layoff as well. I thought he was all right. I'd probably give him a 4.5.
Yeah, I probably would as well. He showed, what my favourite Kovacic is picking up the ball in our third and driving, or picking up the ball at the halfway line and driving, beating a man, entering the final third, picking a pass. I got a lot of love for Kovacic in that regard, and he's really good at that, providing some forward energy. He did a little bit of that last night. He's always going to offer you a little bit of that, but ultimately, I think 90 was too much for him. He struggled at times, and he did look leggy towards the end.
Yeah, and no real surprise there. But not a good night for the midfield too, unfortunately. But it's just the way it goes. They're a complete loss of control in the middle of the park. And obviously we had to bring Kante on to try and shore things up, and we still couldn't quite see it through, unfortunately. Moving on to Mason Mount, I thought, apart from Lukaku, I thought the front three were poor. Mount wasn't like woeful, but he wasn't good. He wasn't good against Villa either, and this was another fairly poor game from him. Look, he works his socks off, and his mentality is spot on, and his hard work is second to none. But we shouldn't be praising professional football players for working hard. It's part and parcel of the job, but he does always work hard and put a shift in. Again, decision-making in the final third, poor. That chance I referenced in the first half, he's got a great opportunity to play a ball across. Can't do it. But having said that, he gets the assist for the goal for Lukaku. And Mount has been involved in 12 goals and assists this season for Chelsea. I think the most of any Chelsea player. So he's having a good season. But yeah, more consistent basis would be ideal. But again, a not great day at the office for him. I'll probably give him a 4.5 or a 5. I can't quite decide.
Yeah, I'd probably say 5 for Mounty. It's unfortunate and painful that a lot of the chances that we had were squandered, and that he was kind of like spearheading a lot of these attacks, especially early on, and they just came to nothing. If we come out the blocks and score early, that just kills a side like Brighton. And anyway, we've said everything about Mount. Got love for him, and he'll always put a shift in, and he wins the ball back. He presses well. He's a good player. He wasn't without that last night.
Yeah, and moving on to Hudson-Odoi on the left-hand side, obviously had a great game against Aston Villa, involved in all the goals, couple of assists. Probably should have scored there against Villa as well. Unfortunately, he had a stinker last night. He was awful. And, we love Callum Hudson-Odoi, want him to do well. But, I'm not going to defend the indefensible. He was awful last night. He really was. I do think people always seem to look for a scapegoat when we don't play well. And I've seen things, on Twitter, etc. Fans said, "Oh, he's the reason we didn't win." He's not the reason we didn't win.
No.
Yes. Should he do better of that 2-on-1? Absolutely. Should he be taking the shot on? Yes. Is his finishing not good enough at the moment? Yes, it is. But no one's finishing in a front three is good enough, apart from Lukaku. So, yes, Callum was poor last night, one of his worst games. But I think people seem to forget that the guy had to play 90 minutes against Villa, having one training session after COVID, and we couldn't sub him off. And then he played 65 minutes here a couple of days later. I'm not making excuses for him. That's just the reality of the situation. And yes, he wasn't good enough last night. Simple as that. I thought he was really, really poor. So I'll probably give him probably have to give him a 2.5. If you give him Alonso and Jorginho 3s, he was worse than those boys, unfortunately. I'll probably have to give Callum a 2.5, which pains me to say it, but yeah, it's fair. He was awful.
He was poor, and it's a continuation of the issues that we've seen. It's not that he's not playing whip every single game. It's fine. I get that. He's 21. He will become a top player. I strongly believe that. But it's situations where he's got the quality and he bottles it, or he makes an indecision, or his execution is poor. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah. That will improve in time, but when we're going for the big prizes, you haven't really got time to do it. I mean, yes, he'll get better with consistent minutes, and he'll get better over the more he plays. But we need some finished articles in that front three. We haven't really got any finished articles at all, or anyone who is a finished article of the required quality. But yeah, he was poor last night, but he'll definitely be back for sure. You're going to have poor games as a young football player. All football players have poor games. And moving on finally to the only positive of the night, Lukaku, another goal. I thought he held the ball up really well. So good to have a physical presence at the top end of the pitch. He brings other players into play. He's a handful, really good at defending set pieces as well for us. A really positive night for him. I thought he was probably our best player on the night. I'd give him an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, so would I. I thought it was fantastic. Great goal. Should have got another. We played with him better than I've seen. Probably the best I've seen last night. And despite the poor performance, that was definitely a positive. Pinging it into his feet when he's got a player and he can take it on the turn.
He just pins players, yeah.
But, get Ron backing into someone, play it into his feet on the edge of the box, let him turn, let him bulldoze, let him do his thing. And he's not going to be able to do that every time we pass it to him or every time he gets the ball, but he'll get better and better and we'll get goals from him. I was happy to see that. And it's great to see him get 90. I wanted to see him. I'm excited to see him start.
Yeah, no, definitely positives for Lukaku. 2 goals in his 2 appearances coming back from COVID. So, let's hope that form continues. But yeah, he was probably the only plus on the night. And just to round out, Trevor Chalobah coming on at half time. I thought he did okay. The fact he lost his man for the goal, Welbeck, it wasn't good defending. It was a poor error in my opinion. But I thought he did okay. I probably would have given him a 6 or a 6.5. But I think he has to lose a point for losing his man for the equaliser. So I'll probably give him a 5.5.
I'll go with that.
I thought he was good apart from that one error, which was obviously very costly in the end.
Yeah, totally. I think positionally he was fantastic, and although it was last ditch at times, Brighton were creds to Brighton, because
they played really well. Yeah,
they put players forward. They played risky football at Stamford Bridge with Lukaku on form, and we should have punished them, and we didn't.
Yeah.
And credit to them for making us pay.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I think, and obviously Chalobah's been so good this season. They'll continue to be really important, and will get better and better, and be one of our, main players for years to come, hopefully. But yeah, a poor error that you can't really be making at this level, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just our player ratings. So guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, in the chat, etc. Another disappointing night at Stamford Bridge, a 4th draw in our last 5 home league games to round out 2021. We'll be back in action next year when we take on Liverpool on Sunday in a massive game. I'm not feeling too confident ahead of that one, given the injury situation, particularly how we're playing at home as well. But always back to Chelsea, roll on Liverpool on Sunday. And we'll catch you in the Liverpool preview on Saturday, guys. But yeah, have a great new year and see you soon. Cheers. Make sure you smash a like on this video and click that subscribe button, guys. Appreciate all the support.